So this video came out the other day and I was really taken by surprise. A look inside Daniel Craig's watch collection. Esquire just seemed to release it out of the blue. Craig doesn't seem to be promoting anything. So let's get in and review Daniel Craig's watches. This video is a real pleasant surprise, something cool to look and get an insight into Craig. He doesn't do a lot of this stuff really. So as a Bond fan, time to review his watches. First things first, he's got a nice old holder for his watches.
It's interesting that you've got a Speedmaster because obviously in your role as Bond, it's much more known for the Seamaster.
Yes.
What is it about the Speedmaster that attracted you?
Well, the moon thing, one. I mean, just kind of the idea that this watch was designed, the fact that it's, you have to wind it, it's sort of it's sort of very mechanical and functional. But
And the winding thing, you kind of have more of a relationship with it when you have to wind it.
Exactly. It's a really good thing to say. You have
Like, this watch is really cool. The moon relationship is fantastic. And the fact that it beat out a lot of other watches to get to the moon is something else. Rolex didn't pass the tests. Yeah, it really was a special watch and still is a special watch. Bond doesn't usually wear a chronograph, which is a timer on a watch. However, the chronograph is sort of Bondian, the ability to time it, especially while you're racing. In George Lazenby's film On Her Majesty's Secret Service, he wears a Rolex chronograph. It's a pre-Daytona. You can see it right here.
relationship with it. That's exactly right.
Well, mine. Yeah. How did you get started in watches in the first place?
My father bought me a watch for my 18th birthday, which was a vintage Omega. It was very beautiful, and I wore it to death. And
so they show two Omegas here, but this one that I've paused the screen on is the Michael Corleone one from The Godfather 2. I don't know exactly, he doesn't say here which Omega the vintage one was, but it would be cool.
Unfortunately, I wore it so often that one of the arms broke and I lost it on the Wurlitzers in the fair, which is stupid of me to be wearing a vintage Omega on the Wurlitzers, but that's it went.
This is from Casino Royale.
It's the watch I wore in Casino Royale.
Which was in the very first.
Now, this is class. This is the Planet Ocean from Casino Royale. One of the reasons I got my Planet Ocean, to be honest, is the Craig relationship with that watch throughout Casino, Quantum, Skyfall. It's between that and the Aqua Terra. It's a very Craig Bond watch.
Clip, which is the crane and the park
Exactly.
and the crushing.
I think there were there was probably about 3 of these, and stunt guys wore them, and I had this one, and I'm sad to say, but it still had red clay on it up until it's just gone
From that.
I never cleaned it from that set.
In fact, these watches were auctioned off, the ones after the film, and when they were auctioned off, covered in the clay from the set. So it's not surprising that he still had the clay on his.
And it's engraved from Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli.
They gave it to me afterwards, and they kind of came and so it's very, very precious to me. But I never wear it. I mean, I just it's too much.
It's special, right? Yeah. And this one's really intriguing, and it sent me down the rabbit hole last night at about 10:30. It's in the mid to late 60s Seamaster 300.
Now, this is actually really interesting. This is a vintage Omega, and it's kind of like the precursor to the 300 that we all know that Pierce Brosnan wore in the 90s. This is what that lineage is from.
Diver, but I don't think I've seen very many which actually have the old script on it. I may be wrong, but...
And then before that, again, you have the heritage one, which is sort of the modern day equivalents or homages or leading into the Spectre. But this era of Omega is very much important to what they're making nowadays.
But I think that's much rarer than the ones that came in the
I hope you're right.
60s.
Yeah,
How did you come by?
So I was in Budapest and I was filming Munich. I'd already had the meeting with Barbara. There wasn't an offer on the table, but it was sort of like it was getting very close to crunch time about whether or not I was going to kind of get involved. And I saw it in the window of a shop in Budapest, and it was in a real state. And in fact, if you look, I mean, you can see it there, but there's sort of damage
On the loom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was sort of working, and I got totally taken to the cleaners.
Now this one's a nice one. This is the coaxial, master coaxial chronometer from Spectre.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Now this is a bit of a grail watch, I would say. There's only a handful of them out there, and there's a load of little details that I really love. Your GMT bezel, your lollipop seconds hands. The NATO strap is a nice homage to military and Connery. Yeah, this one's pretty special. Probably one of the most special of the whole Craig era.
Yeah. So what's nice about this one is, you can see.
Also, interesting there, he's wearing it on the leather, which is very interesting.
Is not for sale, which means it's a prototype. And I was a bit scared about bringing this one in today.
Really?
I thought they might ask for it back. They may still do. So I know.
Cut that bit.
I've got the lollipop version of that one.
That's pretty funny. One of one, or there's probably only a handful made before Spectre came out, and they released the proper versions of them
as well, which I was going to bring in, but I just thought that was much nicer because I probably shouldn't own it.
This one, I didn't even know this existed until I saw this picture of this yesterday.
Right.
It's the Memomatic. Tell me about that.
I love this sort of period when, you know, that television series Space 1999. They're sort of futuristic watches. They kind of but what really appealed to me, but this has got an alarm on it.
Yeah.
I had a watch years ago. I don't know what make it was. It was not, certainly wasn't an Omega, and it had an alarm on it. And that's how I used to get up in the morning. I used to set it, put it by the bed, and it would go. And I just but it would then go on my wrist, and I just thought that was the best.
It's a little tinny mechanical alarm, but it's actually quite pleasant.
And it's just, I mean, it kind of looks.
That's quite cool. Yeah, those, especially the chimes and stuff, those watches with those complications, it's a nice touch.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, I quite like.
And it's, as Craig said there, it's very 1970s sci-fi.
It's about that.
This is from about 70s to 71.
Is that right? It is about, yeah, but again, it's that kind of, that sort of sci-fi kind of thing. And they put this rather chunky but rather nice.
I think a lot of it, that design was in a sort of follow-up to the moon landings. Everyone went space mad. Oh, back on the moon?
Yeah, again, that's just
the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, this is a nice little piece in terms of the Apollo missions and those homages. Omega does go wild on homage pieces to all those moon landings, so it is nice. You've never say no to it. There's just so many out there, so many Speedmasters, and what I say is there's clearly a relationship between Craig and Omega here.
Yeah, moon landing from 2009.
Yeah. And that just, again, that's just to tie into, you know, what this, that's the kind of the basic moon watch. And then when I got a bit more money, I got that one because it was like you know, it's just a commemorative one. It just, and again, that's, you can see from it because it stays a bit, I wear it all the time. So it's, again, all these watches, I don't tend to wear that off very often, but I wear all of these watches.
I'm sure there's some that you sort of keep under lock and key, but you really like to wear them rather than.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point? You can't hide things away. It's like a kind of, it's a bit.
It's a nice collection so far, all Omegas.
Hoarding things, I just like, I've got to put them on your wrist and wear them, get the function out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this one is interesting. This is from Jan Arthus Bertrand's organization, which is for like sort of protecting the ocean.
Right.
Did you pick this up for a particular reason to do with that operation, or is it just something that came to you?
This is where this interview just goes down the pan because it's blue.
As good a reason as any.
But it's also got, you know, there's the orange ones that.
I actually said this before in one of my videos about the Planet Oceans, maybe. The blue Planet Oceans are very, very nice. They look lovely. Also, they showed the wrong insert picture here, and then the close-up shows that it's different bezel. Craig's one has a GMT bezel going around there, which is very unique complication with the GMT hand for telling different time zones across the world. But yeah, it's cool. I think it might be a tiny bit busy. As you all know, I have my Planet Ocean here as well. Yeah, I love the Planet Ocean. It's so rugged and you can just, it's quite dynamic. Like obviously it's a very casual watch, but it's pretty rugged and tough too. So yeah, can't beat the Planet Ocean. And I'm not surprised he had two of them because the casino one in particular, and all the Planet Oceans that Bond wears throughout his era, is a real Craig Bond thing. Like, it makes sense for his Bond, so not surprising that he has more than one.
Around which I've never been able to, I couldn't wear an orange one, but it has the blue and it's got the orange picked out on the side, and I just think it's just a beautiful watch, just like, you know. And again, I wear this one all the time as well. You can tell it's covered in crap. I did actually try to clean some of these, and I just thought, oh, stop it. I was there with my little toothbrush and cleaning it up, and I thought, oh, come on, that's what they did. That's what you know.
I'm going to bring in this one now, which actually we've borrowed for the day, which is your most recent Seamaster 300.
Your watch,
How strong is it?
fairly strong.
This is titanium. It's a really lovely watch because it's...
This was the No Time to Die watch. These are actually fairly easy to get, to be honest. They're expensive now because they're titanium, but you could definitely get one. There's no limited number of them out there. And yeah, this, by all accounts, is an incredible watch. And what I'll also say is I wore this briefly in London, and it is so light on the wrist. You could wear it all the time, not even notice it. And it's very, very cool and interesting. And that strap is just brilliant too. It's almost like a snakeskin.
It's very retro and it's very modern at the same time. I like the fact that they put the broad arrow on the dial as well, which has been a mark of ownership by the crown or by the government.
Wow.
Basically means this is not your watch. You're going to give it back when you finish your service or whatever it is. Is it something that's a sort of a watch that's out there that you have in the back of your mind that you're still looking for, or if it comes along, you'll nab it, something in your head?
I don't feel very comfortable wearing the really expensive watches. And I've got a couple of really nice ones, so for very special occasions I wear.
So he's wearing an Aqua Terra right there at the No Time to Die premiere. I think it's a gold one or white gold one. It's a very nice piece too. I'll find a picture of it. He is only showing Omegas here, and I think Craig is a brand ambassador for Omega post Bond. I've seen him at a couple of events. He does different things with Omegas well after his Bond tenure. There is clearly a relationship with himself and Omega even before Bond, with his dad getting him the watch and the Budapest watch. So Craig and Omega have that relationship. I have seen him wear Rolexes in the past, especially during his kind of 2006 era when he just became James Bond. You saw him wearing GMTs and Daytonas, but really nowadays he seems to be exclusively Omega.
But on a day-to-day, I want to wear a watch that feels like I feel comfortable having on my wrist.
Now, if under threat of being evaporated, you had to keep one of these watches, which one would you keep?
It's a toss-up between those two, because I bought that, but I think it has to be the Casino Royale one. It's kind of that has a incredibly significant. It's the moment my life changed, basically. So I think I have to sort of say that was the one.
Do you think you might be able to find a replacement for the one that flew off your wrist at the trade?
I did. I found one.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
And it's as close as you
I
can.
think that's fine. Yeah.
Marvellous. Yeah. Well, Dalian, thank you very much for your time. It's been very fascinating.
Yeah, not surprising. The James Bond Casino Royale one is his favourite watch. It's a moment where his life changed completely. But it's a nice watch. And then you can see him keeping wearing the Planet Oceans for the first 3 movies. It's bittersweet that he got a new vintage Omega because his dad got him that one and he lost it. But yeah, the Planet Oceans stick out to me. The 300 actually is another one that sticks out to me. That Spectre watch. So there's a lot there, and that relationship with Omega is loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
That's the end of the video. Really interesting collection. I think everyone would like it. Exclusively Omega. I'm sure some people who aren't crazy Bond fans like us might not appreciate that, but really there is a lot in there. As I said, the ones that stick out to me are the Casino Royale watch, which is special because it's the one he wore. That Spectre 300, and even the weird little things like the Omega with the alarm from the 1970s. And that's a nice story about the dad watch. It's bittersweet that he had to get a new one, but it's good that he got something. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Shoot the like button and subscribe if you like this type of video, me reviewing these things. This came out of the blue, but let me know.